Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for today's Creative Concepts. I'm going to start a new series today that is dollar store crafts. I went to the dollar store today and I found a lot of really interesting things, and I thought let's try to make a craft out of them. So the first thing that I found is this spelunky diver's helmet looking glass bowl. Pretty neat, liked it, so got it. I found these incredibly fake looking succulents. Neat, so I grabbed those. I've got some wired jute cord from the dollar store and a bunch of this floral moss. And so I thought, probably with a little bit of effort, we could make a really neat little terrarium out of these. Yep, my floral moss is now on the floor. All right, so first off, I'd like to try to see if I can make these little fellas a bit nicer looking. So I'm actually gonna take them out of their pots. We don't need these. It's probably the most expensive thing about them. Anyway, don't need them. So I'm gonna go ahead and take them out of their pots. If they come out of the foam completely, that's fine. I'm fine with that. This one, there we go. Now I've got them out of their pots. And I thought probably the best way to make these real fake fellows look a bit more realistic would be to paint them. Paint a little bit of, I don't know, something on them. So I'm gonna start with my spiky guy, and I've got some acrylic craft paint here. And I'm gonna just use some white, I think. See where I get with that. Now they do have craft paint at the dollar store. I was very interested to find out. So if I start to make a few little lines on my spiky plant here, I'm thinking it might start to look a little bit more real than the plastic just does here. I don't think that we need to go completely crazy, but just a little bit here and there to bring out the real in my plant here. Just a little extra something something. If you feel like you've done too much, you can always wash it off. That's the nice thing about acrylic paint or craft paint, is that it really is just liquid plastic. So like once you get it on there and the surface is non-porous, then you can very, very easily just wash it off. There we go. Okay, so that's this fellow. I'm gonna set him up here to dry. And I think this one, I'm actually going to make a little bit of a lighter green. So I've got some green here that's, I opened. Wow, that's cool. Let me open that up. A little bit extra green, not much, just a couple drops. See where that takes us. I also have yellow over here. If I don't like the way that this looks, I can add some yellow to it. It sort of depends. I'm gonna keep this kind of marbledy, I think. Just kind of brush it on the surface edges of my plant. Let's see, do I like it? Do we like it? I think I do. I think I like that a lot, actually. Give it a little extra prettiness. And you can always wipe around it if you don't like what you're seeing. Go slightly different here and there. But I'm liking this, so I'm gonna keep going with my multicolored leaves here. I'm gonna leave a couple, I think, though, kind of towards the bottom. And let them be their own shades so that it makes a bit more sense color-wise. All Alright, I think I do like this. And we'll just let that sit with that for the time being until they're dry. So what we're wanting to do is prepare them, make them prettier, and then we're going to stick them in this bowl here. And there's a couple of interesting things about this bowl. Like, it's flat, so it'll sit here, even though it sort of looks like a diving man. It's hilarious. It has a couple like off-centered holes, and I don't know if we want to try to do that. I don't think that's the right call. But what I did was I got this jute cord in hopes that we would be able to string it up somehow so that this could be a terrarium type thing that we can hang. So while my plants are drying there and my hot glue gun is heating up, try that out. So we could go this way maybe. Actually, I do kind of like that. It's a little off center, but that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get some scissors and cut that off. And then I think I'm going to put some around the mouth there too. So we need some scissors. Hopefully these guys will do it. The fun thing about this cord is that it is wired inside, so it's going to kind of stay however you put it. So I'm just going to twist it to itself. And it should stay just fine. It's kind of neat. I'll have to remember that that's there while I'm starting to make stuff for Christmas. So that'll work to hang it, I think. And then I want to put some maybe around here. I think that looks kind of neat. So let's get the glue gun. Yeah, there it goes. Drop a little bit around the edge of that. Yep, I am using a high heat glue gun, so it should stay hot. Let's just see if I manage to burn myself this time around. I almost always do. Okay. And we can clean up the edges of that here in a second. So you know how sometimes your glue kind of comes over? Well, it just peels right off. We'll just have to clean it up when we're done with that. So I'm going to cut that off there. And tuck it down a bit. Ah, there's so much left. That's a really good deal for $1. Okie dokie. So here we go. Here is our terrarium. And I think our plants here have dried enough that we can go ahead and think about positioning them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to cut off the wire here. I want to just glue it down flat. Like, Sharon, why are you using your pinking shears? Because they're the ones that have the best cut out of all the shears I've got. So let's think about where we want to position these in here. And I think I'm going to do the flat-leafed one first, because it's the one that's going to need the most help getting stood up, probably like right there. And then the spiky one in the back, in the front, I should say. All right, so I've given myself a big old pile of glue, and I'm going to just stick this guy in there and kind of hold him until he decides he wants to stay up, which might be a minute because this glue is pretty liquid at the moment. The one trick is working inside of this tiny space. It's sliding all over the place, but there we go. Now I've got it in a good grip, and it should start to cool. Yeah, it's real hot. I only use a high heat glue gun here in the Idea Factory because so much of the stuff that I have to glue really needs that extra stickiness that high heat brings. So upon occasion, it doesn't work real well for me. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put that there and I'm gonna stick this other guy in and hope, against wild crazy hope, that they'll help each other stand up. They will. Look at that. Okay, while those are drying, I'm going to go ahead and get out some of my moss. And because there's a lot of extra glue in there, I might try to start sprinkling it in right now. See if it'll help stick everybody together. I think it will, actually. And the front. Yep, this is gonna make a giant mess, as my kiddo says. Mommy, you're making a giant mess. Which also tells you what I do at home most of the time. Craft and make messes. It's like my MO. Put it back in there. What we can do, because now it's kind of a mess, like I said, is get this out of my workspace, this extra stuff. And then tuck that in there. I'm going to get just kind of the end of my paintbrush and start moving everybody around. Poking them down into where I want them. Moving it out of the leaves of the little fake succulents I have in here. Getting them where they want to go so that we can see everybody. And just kind of positioning that moss in places that it makes sense for moss to be in the grand scheme of the terrarium. I'm actually quite pleased with this. I've been seeing a lot of interesting things on YouTube, TikTok, all that fun stuff about ways to use dollar store things to make really pretty crafts. And I thought, okay, well, let's give this a shot for the library. And you know what? I'm actually really pleased with how this is turning out. So I'll get these guys out of there. And poke them down in the back there. I don't know where it's sitting. There we go. All right. Okay, guys. I think this is finished, and I will hang it up here in just a second, but I want to take the phone down so you can see it a little bit better. So here is the finished product. Looks pretty good to me. That I might want to glue down a little bit because it seems like it might be pokey. That's about the only thing that I'm seeing that I'm not happy with. Alright, so it hangs like that. Let's look at it from the side. Oh man, that looks real good. Looks like something you'd spend a lot more than, what, $5? And about, what, 13 minutes making? Yeah, I think so. I quite like it. Alright guys, I hope you like it too. Sorry for the wobbly camera work, it's just me. If you'd like to watch any more dollar store craft hacks, next month I think I will be doing wreaths. I'm going to make a wreath with stuff from the dollar store, and then the month after that I'm going to show you how to make some hot chocolate gifts to send to your relatives for the holidays. Alright everybody, hope you enjoyed it, hope you make one. If you do, send me a picture, and hopefully I get to see you here at the library or virtually tuning into the programs. And until I do, stay safe, stay healthy, bleh, and keep making.